Hello and welcome to another episode of Who's Who's. I'm your host, Shekinah Marita, and we have a great show planned for you today. Today, our special guest comes all the way from Italy. He abandoned a life of luxury for a life devoted to Christianity, becoming well known in the Christian world. He is viewed as one of the greatest examples of how to live Christian life since Jesus himself. Today, let's welcome St. Francis of Assisi.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here today.
Now, you were born in 1181 in Assisi, Italy. Your father was a wealthy cloth merchant who owned some farmland and had a love for France and everything in it, so he married your mother, who was a French woman, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is it true that your name hasn't always been Francis?
Yeah, that's right. My father was away when my mother gave birth to me. She named me Giovanni after St. John the Baptist, but when my father returned, he had my name changed to Francisco, which means Frenchman.
Hmm. St. Francis, now you are known for your Christ like qualities and way of life, but it wasn't always like that, was it? You were quite the partier as a teenager, weren't you?
Yes, I had quite an appetite for booze and women. Not my proudest moments in life, that's for sure.
Now, you lived a rather carefree and rich life. People say you were always happy and charming and a natural born leader. Like your father, you also developed a love for France and dreamed of being a knight and a war hero. And you got your chance, didn't you? Can you tell us about it?
Well, in 1202, war broke between Assisi and our longtime enemy, Perugia. I was about 20 years old at the time, so I stepped up and took my place in the cavalry. We came under heavy attack, and soon the whole battlefield was covered in bodies. I was dressed in expensive new armor, so when captured, they decided to spare my life. I was taken prisoner, led off to a dank underground cell when I spent a year waiting for my father's ransom, and was on my deathbed due to illness when released.
Wow, what a story. And it was while you were in prison that you began receiving these visions from God.
That's right. It was there that my life began to change and began to turn my focus towards God.
Okay, so one day while praying before an old crucifix at the church of San Demanio, you heard what you described as the voice of Christ.
Yes, it told me to rebuild the Christian church and to live a life of extreme poverty. So, in obedience, I abandoned my life of luxury and devoted my life to Christianity.
But you got into some trouble, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
From what I understand, you stole some cloth and a horse from your father in order to raise money for this project.
My father found out about me, took me to the bishop, where I threw off my clothes and revealed that I was wearing a hair shirt.
And seeing this, the bishop clothed you with his cloak and accepted you into the religious life. And it is said that since that time, your relationship with your father was never the same.
No, it wasn't. We didn't speak much after that incident. My father basically disowned me.
Well, we're almost out of time, but after your ministry really took off, you had many followers and were soon preaching in up to 5 villages a day, teaching a new kind of emotional and personal Christian religion that everyday people could understand. You were also known for your boundless love for animals and nature, and your joyful example of universal love and selfless sacrifice. Thank you so much for joining us today on Who's Who's. It was an honor to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to be here.
It was a pleasure to have Francis of Assisi here with us today. He is also well known for the Franciscan order and his prayers that have impacted the nations. So take some time. We're going to show you a video of one of those prayers. Enjoy.